You know, I wanted to come on here and kind of do a follow-up to my video I did earlier today, talking about, the revelation of Rambo and Melina and Rain coming into Mortal Kombat 11, or as they're subtitling it, Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. Now, just in case you're wondering, again, if you have to go out and buy, I should say, another physical Mortal Kombat game, you don't have to do that because basically, if you have the Mortal Kombat game originally, like when it first came out, then it will automatically update no matter what system you have it on, whether it's physical or downloadable. It'll automatically update to the next version of the game. I mean, mine did that with Mortal Kombat 11 Aftermath. The only thing I had to do there was, I think, buy Robocop or something like that. I don't know if I had to buy it. I have to look. But basically, yeah, it automatically, even without buying it, upgraded to Aftermath. And I think, oh yeah, all I have to do really was to get the story mode. That was it, the expansion part. And then get Robocop. And the same will be said here when they go to Mortal Kombat 11. It'll just automatically upgrade to that. But I wanted to come on here because I wanted to, like I said, do a follow up as to, what potential future characters DLC wise, we could see in Mortal Kombat 11 and future combat packs. Mostly, what future special guest stars we could see because we know that with a lot of the Mortal Kombat packs that have come out, the combat packs, period, the fighter packs, that usually they're going to consist of traditional MK characters that we want to see in the game, but we don't think will come into the game, but then they eventually do. However, with those occasional DLC characters of previous MK characters coming in, we always end up getting, since MK9, a celebrity cameo of a special guest star of a certain general that fits into the Mortal Kombat universe. So I thought I'd come on here and basically give you my thoughts on who I feel could be upcoming in the future for inclusion into the Mortal Kombat family of fighter games. Mostly either it's Mortal Kombat 11 or possibly the future MK12. What other special guest fighters, combat fighters, do I think could be included with future DLC packs of MK11 or potential DLC future packs for the upcoming MK12 when that it gets officially announced for the next gen consoles, that being PS5 and Xbox Series X in the future, and that's coming without even wondering or guessing. That's coming. NetherRealms is working on that as we speak. So without further ado and without rambling on a little bit, let me tell you, if not show you, a little bit of who I think potentially could be the next guest star fighters in future DLC combat packs for Mortal Kombat 11, MK11, or potentially the future Mortal Kombat 12, MK12. Okay, so to start off, let's talk about probably the most obvious that people want to see in a future combat pack as far as special guest star DLC characters are concerned. The first one, obviously, people want to see that because they feel it fits in to the Mortal Kombat universe is, or they, I should say, fit into the Mortal Kombat universe. Of course, I'm talking about the Halloween icon himself from the Halloween movie franchise, Michael Myers. And I have no doubt in my mind that they're totally right about this. There has been talk, as I mentioned in the other video, there has been talk about getting Michael Myers into the Mortal Kombat franchise because obviously he fits into it. He has that, I guess that appeal and potential fatalities that work within the Mortal Kombat 11, if not Mortal Kombat 12 universe. And the dream matches that people would love to see, especially if he's in MK11, is basically a who's who as far as like MK fighters he can go up against, as well as other special guest stars he can go up against. There's no doubt people would love to see Michael Myers involved in MK11, if not in the future pack of MK12 when that happens. as a playable fighter to go up against, like I say, iconic MK11 or MK characters, as well as potential guest star characters. I mean, people will come out and say, hey, can you imagine something like Michael Myers against Melina, or Michael Myers against, Shiva, or Michael Myers against what's his name, Baraka, if you will, or Michael Myers against Scorpion or Sub-Zero. You know, all the potential dream matches people would like to see are there. Even Michael Myers against what's her name? It's not Viper, is it? I don't think it's Viper. Is that Insect Queen? I think. Let me check the name. Hold on, guys. I know people are gonna tell me in the comments who it is. So let me check just to be sure. Just to be sure, guys. Hold on. Make sure I get the characters in here. I know she has a V. Let's see, where is she? It's not Baraka. I just meant, oh, Devora. That's right, Devora. So imagine if you had Michael Myers against Devora, or Michael Myers against Cassie Cage, or Sonya Cage, or even Johnny Cage. The interaction you could have there, or him against Shao Kahn, Scarlet, as I mentioned, maybe even Nightwolf, Shang Tsung, Sindel, Spawn, Terminator. So yeah, the possibilities are endless, if you will, when it comes to that. So again, the quest. So again, basically, this is just potentially what could happen, or what could be brought into the equation if Michael Myers is included. But that's just one, though, one character basically that people would like to see in Mortal Kombat in the next combat pack, should there be one for MK11, if not the first combat pack for an MK12. But who else could we see? Well, I could show you. Another one that I think could be added to a third combat pack for MK11, if not the first combat pack or future combat pack for MK12, because like I said, we know that's going to be happening. I think one that really, I believe, would stick out, in my opinion, really, it would kind of tie into the whole iconic 80s deal, as far as fighters, that they could bring in. I think the next best choice, if you want to tie into the 80s deal, as far as 80s action heroes, I think a big surprise for a DLC combat character would be, or guest character, would be the Road Warrior Mad Max. That's right. Mel Gibson's iconic character from the early 80s. The one that was taken, I guess the mantle was taken upon by Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron. Yeah, I believe that if you want to tie into that aesthetic of 80s action heroes or 80s action characters, especially from R-rated movies, then the Road Warrior Mad Max, preferably, no offense to Tom Hardy or anything, but preferably the Mel Gibson character, I think would work perfectly in the MK universe. I think, honestly, the dream matches of Mad Max against Robocop, Mad Max against Terminator, Rambo, just speaks for itself. The interaction he can have with other characters as well, the MK characters, like Sonya, Cassie, Johnny, Briggs, his daughter, Jackie Briggs. Who else? That Aaron Western guy, that cowboy guy. Just the possibilities are endless. And to me, I don't think you could ask for any other iconic 80s action character to fit into the world of Mortal Kombat than the Road Warrior himself, Mad Max. Preferably the Mel Gibson one. Again, no offense to Tom Hardy's interpretation or Charlie Theron's interpretation of the Mad Max characters, but if you're talking about Mad Max from an iconic standpoint, then you have to associate him, no doubt, or you're going to associate him, no doubt, with Mel Gibson. So, to me, I think if they want to choose any other character, iconic 80s special guest fighter character from an action genre of that period, then the Mad Max Road Warrior Mad Max is probably the best solution, probably the next best option, in my opinion, to bring in as part of the next combat pack for MK11 as a special guest star, and if not, potentially as a if not, I should say, but then as potentially a future guest star in the first or future combat pack for an MK12 game. But yeah, Mad Max I think should be another one they should look into for potential DLC, a special guest character inclusion into a combat pack deal, into a DLC combat pack, in my opinion. So another one I thought about, and you might be surprised by this because it is a universal property, but this was a more notable, if not probably better take on the character, and it basically spawned a series of movies. Basically, it's a trilogy, and it really was one of Brendan Fraser's better movies, and people associate him more with this movie series than any other movie series out there. And of course, I'm talking about The Mummy. And I think if there's any other character that you could probably think about bringing in as a fighter, potentially, if you can't get Ash from the Evil Dead series, then I think Brendan Fraser's character, or Brendan Fraser's character from the Mummy series, is potentially one of them you could bring in. If not, you could also do the Mummy character himself. And I think that, let's see, let me check that as to see who the Mummy is in the Brendan Fraser films. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, it's an American action horror film. Well, that's what they call it, but it's a PG-13. So, let's see. Okay, Imhotep, Imhotep, if you will. Imhotep. If you want to really get into, like kind of keeping into that horror perspective, but being something that wouldn't really offend anybody, like I mentioned in the earlier video, then either Brendan Fraser's character, the Brendan Fraser character from this series, from this incarnation of the Mummy series, or Imhotep, in my opinion, would probably be the best options to bring in as special DLC guest fighter characters in a future combat pack. I know some people might say, well, what about the Tom Cruise one? Well, I think Universal wants to kind of maybe stay away from that as best they can. They don't want to, have to revisit that, even though they are still trying to create the Dark Universe in a way that is a better modern interpretation of the Monster series. But however, though, I think honestly, the better off just going and recognizing this as probably the better version. But like I said, they could either go with the Rick O'Connell character that Brendan Fraser plays, or like I said, either that or Imhotep. They could bring Imhotep or Brendan's character Rick O'Connell into Mortal Kombat as a future guest star fighter in a future combat pack, whether it's for MK11 or it's a future pack for the future MK12. I think honestly, the Mummy from the Brendan Fraser version, the Mummy Imhotep, or the Brendan Fraser Rick O'Connell character would probably be the best solutions, the best options in my opinion. Um, and I think honestly, if they were to go with this, let's say with as a future DLC combat pack guest star in MK12, then I think honestly you would be giving away potentially something that fans would enjoy, and that's giving away a universal monsters like feel. Because if you're gonna bring in if you're gonna bring in Imhotep into the MK11 universe as a fighter, then expectedly you got to bring. Then fans are going to expect you. What I'm trying to say, fans are going to expect you to bring in the other classic Universal monsters like Frankenstein, the Wolfman, Dracula, Invisible Man, Invisible Woman. So I think honestly, doing that. Honestly, I should say doing that, bringing in Imhotep or even Rick O'Connell, the Brendan Fraser character, if not both, into a future combat pack for MK, with its MK11 or MK12, I think opens the door for you to make that happen. Because who wouldn't want to see the Universal monsters in one-on-one matchups with the MK characters? I'm just saying. Okay, so next up is another that I think would catch a lot of people by surprise. But I think the next one should be, as far as special guest DLC characters go in combat fighter packs for MK11 or MK12, or basically the MK universe in particular, but mostly the current game and the potential future game. The next one I think should be Caesar from War of the Apes, or the Planet of the Apes franchise, the most recent one. I think Caesar should be the next one on the list. I know some people might say, "Well, he died in the last movie." Yeah, he did, but the door was still potentially open for his offspring, his next generation, to take over. But here's the thing: a lot of the characters they have in there, or they've had in there in the past, the special guest DLC combat fighters, have died pretty much in their franchises, somewhat, if not several times. So why not go with another character that, from a story perspective, has died, but definitely has shown could fit into the realm of Mortal Kombat? And Caesar, I think, could potentially be that character. I know some people might say, well, that doesn't seem right. He doesn't seem like that kind of a character. And it's true, maybe not. But again, if you watch this movie and then if you watch the other two movies, you kind of get that idea that, yeah, if he has to be combative, if he has to fight for what he believes in, then yeah, he would definitely be a good fit in the MK universe. And honestly, it'd be one of those DLC special guest combat fighters that no one would see coming. People would look at this and be like, wow, I didn't expect them to go there. I didn't expect them to add that character in. And they would. Or they've been known to do that. I mean, again, take a look at what they've done just recently with John Rambo, Sylvester Stallone's character. They brought that character in, and nobody thought they were going to do that. They were expecting more of Ash from Evil Dead than they were Rambo. But yet, here you go. Here's Rambo. So, again, I think if they want to continue that trend of bringing in somebody that nobody would expect into the MK universe as a special guest DLC fighter, then Caesar from the Planet of the Apes, the more recent adaptation or adaptation of the Planet of the Apes franchise, I think would be the perfect fit, in my opinion. So yeah, I think they should consider Caesar of the recent adaptation of the Planet of the Apes franchise as a potential special guest DLC character. Okay, so the next one that I think, would be very well suited for a special guest DLC combat fighter appearance that fans would probably want to see, if not thought about, but don't think, NetherRealms would do it, or WB would do it. Well, because WB distributed these movies and pretty much were behind these movies, I think this character would definitely be an obvious choice to go with, because they don't have to pay out any licensing fees just for this character to show up, because they pretty much have this character in the library anyway. And I'm talking King Leonidas from 300. 300. Yeah, King Leonidas, I think that's the character from 300, played by Gerald Butler in the film. Yeah, this guy. Yeah, King Leonidas, I think, would probably be the next best choice for a special guest MK DLC fighter appearance. Again, the movie itself was distributed by WB, so I don't think WB would have to worry too much about trying to get the license for the character because the movie's under their the movie is under the distribution. Easy for me to say. So yeah, I think King Leonidas would be perfect. I mean, can you imagine the interaction he could have with MK villains like Shang Tsung, or Shang Tsung, I should say, Raiden, Kotal Khan, and imagine the interaction he'll have with characters like John Rambo, Robocop, Terminator, Joker, you name it. You know, the possibilities are just unbelievably endless. And so I think, honestly, they want to get somebody, get a character, a special guest DLC character in there without having to worry about, you know, paying too many fees, if not none at all. Then King Leonidas from 300, in my opinion, fits perfectly into that realm of Mortal Kombat, you know, fighters and the universe itself. So yeah, that's another one right there. King Leonidas of 300. Alright, so the next character I think would really fit into MK11 and would be an unexpected surprise because I don't think anybody would see it, comes from the anime-verse, if you will, the world of anime. And just the fact that, you know, the interactions this character could have with the likes of Johnny Cage, Cassie Cage, Sonya, even, Robocop or Terminator, it's just like, you could just see it happening and working out perfectly. And the character I'm talking about is Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. That's right, Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. I think he would work perfectly in the series. Again, the interactions he could have with the likes of Johnny Cage, the likes of Sonya, Cassie, Robocop, Briggs, Jackie Briggs, Raiden, Liu Kang. I mean, it's just, I can't say any more than it would just be unbelievable. And I think if you really want to surprise people with a character they would not see coming fitting in to the MK11 universe or the MK12 universe, then Spike from the Cowboy Bebop anime and manga would definitely work wonders in that department. There's no doubt about it. I mean, heck, if you want to even add in Faye Valentine as a potential, like, 2-for-1 kind of deal, that would work too. That would work too. But I think, honestly, if you're going to go with any character from Cowboy Bebop, you got to go with Spike Spiegel. Because, honestly, let me ask you this. Have any of you seen, episodes of Cowboy Bebop? Have you watched the movie? I have. And I could tell you, honestly, when you really think about it, he would fit in perfectly. With his personality and everything, he would fit in perfectly. So, yeah, to me, I think honestly, if they really want to throw people for a loop, give them like, oh, wow, I didn't see that coming, kind of unexpected factor, then Spike Spiegel of Cowboy Bebop is basically, in my opinion, the best option to go with. Especially if you want to bring in a special guest character from a genre or a category that nobody would see coming. I mean, honestly, who would see an anime character being entered into MK? I'm just saying. So, yeah, Spike Spiegel, I think, is probably the best option, in my opinion, for one of those characters that you would not see coming, but you could definitely see fitting into the MK universe. Alright, so the last one that I have on the list here is going to surprise a lot of people again, just like Spike's edition that I mentioned could be. Again, this one's also from the world of Japan, the world of anime, the anime-verse. And I'm talking about the lead character from the iconic 1995 anime Ghost in the Shell, the movie that inspired the Wachowski brothers and the Matrix series. I'm talking about the character known, and I'm not going to pronounce her whole name because it's a little hard for me to do, but she's known mostly as the Major from Ghost in the Shell. So yeah, the Major from Ghost in the Shell, in my opinion, as I get out the stuff here to give you a better look at her, I think they have a good show of her somewhere. Well, I don't want to do that. I'll get in trouble. I'll try to find a picture on her. But yeah, mostly her, if we can make sure. Mostly her, the Major, if you will. But basically, yeah. To me, if you want another surprise factor when it comes to, really like being an unexpected DLC addition, special guest wise, in a combat pack for MK, either MK11 or MK12, then the Major, I should say, sorry about that, just like Spike, that I just mentioned, would fall, I should say, under that category. They would fall right under that category as characters that you would not see coming or not expect to appear and be part and participate in a fighting tournament or a fighting game like Mortal Kombat. But again, just like I mentioned with Cowboy Bebop, Spike's style of fighting and his personality fitting in well with that, I could see the same thing with the Major's personality and fighting style fitting into Mortal Kombat as well. I can see, I mean, honestly, if you've seen the movie, I mean, who hasn't seen this movie? You could definitely tell that the way she fights, the way she has to go on I guess you could say a hit and run kind of deal, especially at the beginning. Definitely, if that one scene, I'll put it this way, that one scene where she takes out that mob boss or that crime lord or whatever he is, just blows the crap out of him. If that doesn't tell you that she's the kind of character, especially with all the abilities that are given to her in the franchise, in the movie itself, in the cloaking, invisibility, stuff like that, if that doesn't spell out to you someone that would fit in perfectly with the MK series, especially as a special guest combat fighter, I don't know honestly what wouldn't. I mean, again, just like Spike Spiegel's a personality and fighting style from Cowboy Bebop would fit in, just like the other ones that I just mentioned. I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever that hers can really fit in there without a shadow of a doubt. Hers could definitely fit in there, especially like I said with the abilities you could give her. I mean, imagine her going into the cloaking, into that invisibility cloaking ability or power she's given for either the fatality or the fatal blow special moves thing that would help lead into a fatality. I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, you could even have her hack into one of the characters and beat them up in the mind, if you will. So, yeah, in my opinion, to close out this list of characters that I think could potentially work, I should say, as special guest fighter characters in future combat packs for MK11 or the future MK12 or Mortal Kombat period. I definitely think the Major from Ghost in the Shell would fit that category. She definitely would. And that's going to do it, guys, for the list of characters that I think could fit in well for future DLC special guest fighters in future combat packs. I do apologize if I sounded like I stumbled or rambled or went all over the place. As you know, with my videos, I kind of do things without a script. I just do it, I just say what comes to my mind and, like I say, go unscripted and, just let it flow from there, no matter how much it may seem a little ramble-ish or stuttery or whatever. It's mainly because I'm trying to think about what I'm going to say next. But anyway, though, again, these are just, in my opinion, a list of fighters I think could really fit in to the MK universe, especially from a special guest special guest fighter DLC appearance. Now, I know some of you may agree or disagree with some of my choices, but again, it's just my opinion. But let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what your thoughts are overall on who you think, who you believe could work as a special guest fighter in a future combat pack for Mortal Kombat, either 11, 12, or any other future game. So let me know about that down below. But anyway, though, guys, that's all I'm going to say. Till next time, take care, God bless, and I am out. Stay safe. Peace.